Thank you very much, Marcus, and also Abel, for inviting me to join this focused group forum about blockchain with a focus on the construction applications. So today I'm going to share with you some of my research work about blockchain and IoT in construction supply chain management. So I had some quick word with Maximilian. And interesting to find out he's also doing some research about logistics and supply chain. So this is very much an experience focused in Hong Kong. And I noticed actually since it's the first time, so better for me to do a very brief introduction of my faculty at Hong Kong U. So our faculty is called the Faculty of Architecture, and we have 3 departments. So one is called the Department of Architecture. Within it, we have a division of landscape architecture. And also we have a Department of Real Estate and Construction, and then Department of Planning, Urban Planning and Design. So some of your friends or colleagues, ex-colleagues may work in our faculty. Myself and as the head of Department of Real Estate and Construction. Actually, over the past 6 years, I was the Associate Dean to look after the research profile of this Faculty of Architecture. And now they put me as the head of a department. I'm also the director of leading a research lab called iLab. Basically, it's about digital construction. So currently, and this lab was founded by my dean, Chris Webster, who is an urban economist from Cardiff University. And currently, my lab, we got around 40 members. Okay, so basically, I'm interested in digital construction, smart construction, blockchain, all these kind of things. So today, my topic will cover 3 aspects. The first one is I will share with you a case of using blockchain and IoT for construction with something we call the modular integrated construction. As mentioned by Marcus earlier, it's more like playing Legos and format of high-rise buildings. So, and then I will share with you some of the lessons about technical aspects as well as the managerial aspects, and then some challenges and the prospects. So in Hong Kong, the construction industry overall is still quite strong. But we also, so next time Marcus was in Hong Kong, so still very much, you see a lot of crane towers, a lot of ongoing construction projects there. Construction contributes huge percent of GDP as well as the employment. But we also faced some problems like a higher construction cost, aging construction workers. So actually the latest, average age of construction workers is now 54, okay? And the construction techniques are declining, okay? So the government adopt modular integrated construction as one of the strategies to modernize the industry and to alleviate the problems I just mentioned to you related to productivity, cost, and also aging labor force. So in fact, this city, like Hong Kong, is an expert of using prefabrication, because some basic statistics, half of the Hong Kong's population are living in all different sorts of public housing. So for public housing, we use prefabrication for 40 or 50 years. Now, the government is pushing the higher, it's called modular integrated construction. So basically, it's 3D self-standing modules with even furniture, finishes, and fixtures integrated in a module. So you even have curtains with stoves or sinks embedded in these modules. So they try to make modern the construction site. On the left-hand side, you can see a typical, quite messy construction site. On the right-hand side is quite modern, tidy, and that's the way of modular integrated construction. So in Hong Kong, we have no local prefabrication or modular construction already. So over the years, we removed the whole industries to the adjacent cities in the Pearl River Delta. So it's basically a clever model. So we designed these things in Hong Kong, but manufactured in Pearl River Delta because the cheaper labor, cheaper materials, and more space there. But then these modules or prefabricated components will be transported back across the border back to Hong Kong, store somewhere, or just used just in time and for the on-site assembly. So this prolonged logistic and supply chain, there are some problems. Okay, so traditionally for prefabrication, there are problems already, but now they're more integrated. Okay, we all know in construction there are a lot of quantity controlling points you have to pass through before you start the next controlling point. So how to do all this now in a remote off-site factory in the Pearl River Delta, right, with different culture, with different regulation systems. So it's a big challenge for people who are involved in this construction, modular integrated construction. So for example, the material provenance is an issue, quality inspection in an off-site factory, and then the cross-border transportation are all challenges. And these challenges exacerbate during the COVID-19, because traditionally we send troops of inspectors, very expensive inspectors to Pearl River Delta to do the inspection there. But during the COVID-19, so you simply cannot do that, right? So quarantine 2 weeks in Pearl River Delta in Shenzhen, and then come back for another 2 weeks. So certainly that's not sustainable. But the construction cannot stop, okay, even during the COVID-19, because that supplies a lot of people's bread, support a lot of families in Hong Kong and in Pearl River Delta. So during that time, we try to develop a digitalization system to digitize the whole MIC logistic and supply chain. We focused on 3 scenarios. The first one is the production in the factories, and then the cross-border logistic and supply chain. Perhaps you are aware there is still a border between Hong Kong and mainland China. So we use one country, 2 systems. So we need to do custom clearance, and then for the on-site installation. So we find MIC project at my university, Hong Kong University, and then some basic profile about this. It's a modular MIC project. So basically it's for student dormitories. So in Hong Kong, basically the high-rise building design is very much isomorphic, I think. So normally you have 3 stories of podium, okay, to try to even the site to make it more amenable for any architectural design. But the superstructure, okay, towers. So for this project, we mainly use the integrated module it's just like playing Legos. You stack the Legos to form the final towers. So we developed 3 applications, 3 apps, and they all based on BIM, based on blockchain. So 3 apps with different functions focus on the 3 scenarios I just mentioned, like off-site production, and then cross-border logistic and supply chain, and then on-site installation. They can be used separately, or they can merge together on the same platform to cover the kind of whole logistic and supply chain of this MIC. So perhaps I'm gonna skip some of the So we decompose the quality inspection process of a typical module. Okay, some of them are statutory requirements, okay, must be known by the government. Some of them are non-statutory, but just inform the clients. So we integrate all the process into this app, and then we have the whole inspection procedures, like inspect the different trays. So in total, we have around 40 trays. If for some waterproof components, we have 40 line. So all the process will be put on a blockchain system. Okay, some of the interface about the blockchain, about this inspection systems. So you can see if you look at that one, it's actually well structured, and it's quite a pretty commercial style, commercial standard application. So the qualified people in Pearl River Delta in the factory will take photos, will take videos, and this information will be sent immediately back to Hong Kong for the qualified person here in Hong Kong to do the inspection. Okay, some of them will pass, some of them will not. Okay, then we'll revert to the frontline workers to redo the work. But all the records, comments, anything will be put one in the database, another in a blockchain system. Okay, so and like this, something we are very proud is this blockchain system. These apps were used on a daily basis. Okay, for most of us, we develop some prototype or something. We all know, okay, it's really difficult to be used on a daily basis. But if you look at these modules, all the 956 modules, actually they use on a daily basis. Of course, the very beginning, frontline workers and foremen, they are kind of resistant, okay, complaining the slow speed of Wi-Fi connection or other things, the breakdown of a blockchain system, all these things. So we solve the technical problems one by one, and in the end, they actually use that in the entire process. Actually, we record more than 20,000 photos or videos with all ID information, timestamp. Okay, so for this MIC inspection project, as I mentioned, some of these are all put in a database as well as the blockchain system. So I think I need to, it's better for me to play a video. Let's see whether it works. Five minutes. Oops. These are not the people I know.
The future for construction is going to fulfill the needs of Hong Kong requests for residential units for everyone.
Modular integrated construction has been adopted by the government as a strategy to boost the construction industry in Hong Kong. This new technology boosts the productivity, can save the construction labor shortage, and can improve the quality of construction.
The one-to-one student resident is a pilot scheme and a new way for construction by using the modular integrated construction method and also the e-inspection system. For the two towers, we actually have a 980 MIC units to house 1,228 students.
Quality inspection is key in any construction project. Traditional practice, we send inspectors to the site for quality inspection. But in this case, for the modular living space, the modules were manufactured in mainland China. Particularly during this COVID-19, we cannot send inspectors to mainland China to do the on-site inspection. Therefore, we developed this e-inspection to do the remote quality inspection.
Introduction of the new construction methodology, MIC. We need a lot of supplementary support in making this work. So the e-inspection system is a major breakthrough in how we're going to handle inspections remotely.
We decompose the construction process into different quality control points and then put into an app. The frontline workers take photos and videos for inspection and then send back to Hong Kong immediately for the authorized person to comment, to approve or to reject. All the process will be logged in the blockchain and then copied to the client and also the technologies.
Completed unit, all manufactured in the factory in China. Delivered.
And then back to back to the PowerPoint just have.
This should be this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I also have another app called InTranstar for cross-border logistics and supply chain. I think just skip it. So this one was based on an earlier project. We used RFID technology to connect the cyber and the physical system to show the traceability of logistic and the supply chain. And later on, I developed some of my own smart core technology, and this technology will be relevant to the topic I'm talking about today. Okay, I can just skip it. And after we pilot the three, the blockchain and the BIM system in one of the projects, and then we scale it up to another MIC project, also in Hong Kong. So in this MIC, we start. So previously, the blockchain system was mainly hosted in a local environment within the campus of Hong Kong U. So although it's also it's an in-house developed blockchain environment, so mainly used host in my lab and also within the Hong Kong U. There are some problems there. So for example, we said blockchain can prevent the single point of failure. What if Hong Kong U's electricity power is off, right? Although this is very rare, okay, entire year we will not have that accident. But just in case, so that cannot prevent the single point of failure as well. And also there are some firewall, okay, between outside and Hong Kong U, and also sometimes a firewall between mainland China and Hong Kong. So in this new pilot project, we tested something new, that's cloud-based blockchain. And then this also triggered some questions, okay, cybersecurity, and whether the data will, as some of you mentioned earlier, whether the data will stay in Europe. Now, mainland China, they set up a bureau or data bureau to look at the data security, so prevent the data going out from the boundary of mainland China. But using this cloud, you never know. Some of the data may be in a cave in somewhere, or even under the sea. So we test out this. Use the cloud-based blockchain, and also we test out the 5G. 5G is well developed in mainland China, so this 5G can also reduce the latency, for example, between the data transmission between mainland China and the database, as well as the blockchain system in Hong Kong. So we did a lot of publicities to try to promote the project. Government also invite me to share the experience on international conference of this MIC, and we won some award. Our paper, like using blockchain in MIC, also won the Journal of Management in Engineering, the Best Paper Award. We also have did some early stage exploration. Some of you mentioned the case before. So, okay. So we all know, okay, bin files are very big. How to contain the bin files in blockchain, which is a data redundancy mechanism anyway, right? So actually we published a paper. This paper was published in year 2020. Actually, it's finished in 2019. So our team found a very, I would say very innovative method. So we don't actually blockchain the whole BIM system. We blockchain the changes. Later on, when Jack or some other people talk about your blockchain system, I see the similar philosophy, okay, in the system already. But thinking that was 2019, 2020, actually we used this idea to join the Building Smart International Award. We won the only and big award in this professional research category. So our solution is very innovative. So you turn BIM into open format, IFC format, and then calculate the changes, and then put the changes or something like a hash code in the blockchain. And then when you want to use it, you revert the changes and put it back to the blockchain. That's a way we found this is quite innovative. We noticed this paper is highly cited by the subsequent studies papers. So some lessons about technical and managerial aspects. I must admit I was quite influenced by this ICE report and talking about the potential use of blockchain in the construction industry. But we are very happy to see that most of the prospects are now in active applications, or at least under exploration in the construction industry, and including some of the applications you report today. So during this, we also encountered different questions. For example, what kind of blockchain platform topologies to use? Okay, Max asked a question about the cost of blockchain systems. So we published a paper to using multi-criterion decision matrix to help potential users to evaluate different aspects. I think that's more like a low-hanging fruit, okay? But nowadays, the exploration about blockchain is very much deeper. So at that time, another question is what kind of a topology to use, okay, in our blockchain system? Is a public blockchain or private or hybrid, okay? When it comes to the hybrid blockchain system, so which part should go for public, which part should go for the private, right? So all the things we had some exploration. I think our students, they found two-tier systems, okay, to differentiate these things. So, and then what are the key features that must be fulfilled to call the blockchain system? Some people believe, okay, a serious blockchain system must have decentralization, immutability, and then consensus mechanism. But for our project, for example, yes, 4 minutes left. All right, okay. As a teacher, basically, you don't know how to stop, okay? How to blockchain. And then something we developed in our team is the hardware and software blockchain oracles. Okay, so that's something we developed, the iCore I mentioned earlier, and then it can be serve as a blockchain oracles to communicate the physical world and the blockchain world. And we even go further to because the iCore can do calculating, can even generate some fingerprint and put in the blockchain. We also did something quite interesting. Some government officials, they all want to see Professor Lu's blockchain system, but you know, blockchain systems are black and white. So what we are trying to do is trying to visualize a blockchain to allow our potential users to have a better awareness of the blockchain system. So incentive to develop to use a blockchain system. So in this case, it's used on a daily basis, but it's because of the client, okay, give the contractor some incentive. So if you use my blockchain system, I can have give you quicker payment, okay, interim payment. Right, I'm gonna skip this. So one of the challenges is the conflicting on the compliance with current law and the contract systems. So some of you talked about the smart payment, use a smart contract. Some of you mentioned to broadcast the payment information, not only to the main contractor, but also to the suppliers, okay? And some of them using tokenization and all these things. I noticed a research team from Stanford, from Martin Fisher's team, okay, the PhD student, and now the PhD graduate, wrote a series of papers about these mechanisms. But to simply broadcast your payment information to down the supply chain, whether that is compliant with the current law system is questionable. Actually, I asked some lawyers, and that's actually against the current contract system. Okay, so you pay, according to the contract, you pay the main contractor. They actually have something called a privilege that shouldn't be shared with down the supply chain. So unless you change the current contract system or legal system, I see this as a hurdle of using blockchain. Also, like small to medium enterprises, okay, are they ready for blockchain? Not only for cost, but also for understanding, for education, as you mentioned, for technology, for availability. And then another question, of course, who is the owner of a blockchain system? Who will pay for it? Okay, who will be the beneficiary? All these things are presenting some challenges for wider blockchain applications in the future. So another lesson I learned from this, you need to find a compelling business case of using blockchain. And this point has been mentioned by Marcus from the very beginning. You really need to answer, okay, a question, do I really need a blockchain in this case, right? But perhaps, okay, it's the right time to explore the blockchain. So we must admit, okay, the popular blockchain is popularized with the Bitcoin, right? But now the Bitcoin hype is now diminishing. Perhaps that's the right time for us to explore the true applications of blockchain system. Thank you very much. Thank you.